Hi, this is Randy. I wanted to do a video about being shamed by the narcissist. These 3 incidents of shaming had an impact on me because they were extremely unexpected. They were hypocritical on the part of the narcissist, and they affected me deeply because of the person I am. The narcissist will use what they know about you, and then something that you do or something that you don't even do, but something that they'll point out, something that goes against all you ever knew about yourself, and they will harp on it and never let it go. And they do it in a hypocritical way because what they will harp on you about is something that they would have done very quickly and easily without a second thought. Here's my examples. One of them occurred probably after we had lived together for 5 or 6 years, really. And so I had known the narcissist maybe, 8 years at that point. There was a little girl who lived in the neighborhood, maybe a couple doors down. And she was about 3 or 4 years old. And I guess she got maybe a new bike from my memory. And she was riding her bike. And it was like springtime. So people were just coming out of their houses, opening their doors for, letting spring air in, and you were just now able to start hearing things that were going on outside as the new season had arrived. And this little girl had gotten a bike. It might have been a big wheel. Whatever it was loud, made noise, and she was annoying me. The noises, she was screaming and yelling or kind of crying. She might have had some kind of learning disability. I don't know. I really don't get to know my neighbors. It's not like I knew that she had any disability. It's not like I knew her parents or even her name, and it hadn't really been like I ever even saw her before. And all of a sudden this child was in our neighborhood, and I could hear her annoying bike and her annoying screams and whines and cries on this beautiful day that I was, opening the windows and expecting to hear birds and the sounds of spring. And I got really annoyed by this little girl while I'm inside my house, and I'm glancing out the window to see what these, annoying cries are. And I made, some comments about it to the narcissist about how annoyed it was, and how annoyed I was by this girl. I didn't say anything to the little girl. I didn't even go outside. I was just making comments in the privacy of my own home about, how I wish this little girl would shut up. And, I was making some comments about her functioning level or whatever. But, it was not to anyone's face or anything like that. It was just merely, me being very annoyed by some child. And yeah, I went off on a limb describing, what must be going on over there for these kind of things to be, for this to happen. Like, how could her parents tolerate that? And, I just went out on a limb there with my descriptions and with my level of annoyance. And, actually, it's just, to me, it's funny. I don't feel like I was hurting anybody. And I got the most unlikely response from the narcissist. I was totally shamed. After I had been venting for quite a while, all of a sudden there was, he was listening and he seemed to be, agreeing. And then there was this about face to me about like what a horrible person I was for talking about this little girl in such a way. And she's obviously mentally retarded, or she has these problems supposedly that he said she obviously must have. And how cruel I was to this little girl, and I should be ashamed of myself for having these thoughts, and for feeling annoyed by some helpless little child that can't help or stop her behaviors, and that it's, I have such a problem with children. It got all blown out of proportion that, it wasn't just this little child, but I must have hatred for all children and any children that get loud, and it just was totally blown out of proportion. So, yeah, that was that. And it was like for the rest of the day and night, I had to behave as if I was Mother Teresa in all ways in order to get the narcissist to drop this and please forgive me, and please change his view of me that came on so suddenly after being together for years. This supposed idea about how cruel I really was to annoying children, and that it took me like 8 hours of constant, kissing ass and being super sweet to try to convince him that I really wasn't that horrible of a person, and that, this one incident shouldn't be generalized to me being seen as a horrible person throughout the core. And it was just really odd. It was odd. And after like 8 or 9 years together, that's the first time I had ever heard anything, any kind of criticism that was like hitting me to the core, and like seemed to be like him making this brand new discovery of me, or finally letting these feelings out about what he thought all along and never having said it. I didn't know how to understand it, how to take it. But then, when it was over, and it really was never brought up again. But it was very odd, and it ruined the entire day. So the second incident was that the narcissist had brought up an incident to me that he changed the course of how it really happened. And since it was an insignificant incident, I couldn't put together for him for sure the way that it did happen. I just know it didn't happen the way that he said it happened. And I'm going to have to actually continue this on another video because the story is going to be too complicated. But my point is going to be that narcissists will bring up something out of the blue that happened like 10 years prior, and then they will get mad at you all over again for it, or for the first time. So I'm going to end here and pick up a new video to explain the second incident. Thanks for listening.